Hello, my name is Daniel Tino, and I am here at the Italian Civic Club for the Equus Film Festival. The Italian Civic Club is sponsoring the Film Festival tour this year in Meadville, Pennsylvania. The film is part of the Italian Civic Club that's been here since 1932. Recently retired, I ended up being on the board as a trustee out of 9 different board members. Had the privilege of donating my time and working this club that my grandfather worked in. The film festival is here to connect people with horse films, animals, for different reasons. And this film festival tours throughout the country. And we were fortunate enough tonight to sponsor and host our hall for the Equus Film Festival. Now, if anyone was interested in contacting the Italian Civic Club, you can get in touch with us on our website at theitaliancivicclub.org.
Did this because, 10 minutes you can't tell the rest of the story. Well, what happened to the guy? We couldn't tell the rest of the story because, like Mayor Stearns had stated, these horses were found by criminal trespassing. They went on the property, Connie went on the property, she took photos, she reported it. There's a statute of limitations of 2 years. The 2 years ran out in June. Now we're able to tell the rest of the story. So that's how this came about. That is why there's more of the story now than there was a year ago. So that's my little bit of information.
I would say as we talk, if anybody does have any questions, feel free to just raise your hand and interrupt any of us.
Does anybody have any questions on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania state laws on cruelty to animals? One of the things that you've seen in the movie, and they show different states and different commonwealths and the laws. So the laws in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are much different than the laws in the state of Arizona or in the state of Colorado. So when they start talking about federal laws, there are some laws when it comes to the DEP and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and DEA and all those. So in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we deal with the anti-cruelty laws under Section 5511C of the Pennsylvania Crimes Code. And there are specific charges that can be filed, and then if they are large files, there are charges that need to be filed. The district attorney has to make those approvals. Again, every law enforcement officer answers to the county district attorney's office. So going with federal law would be fantastic, that everybody would have a guideline throughout the Commonwealth of the United States.
It's even playing field.
Even playing field, but then you get into where you would need grand jury investigations and things like that. So there is hope for that, but there's a lot of work to get to that point.
Julianne Neal is the one that put together this film, and I know that some of the things that we saw in these films is a little difficult to watch. And I think as any filmmaker, and you took...
It's very difficult to film, too.
So, yeah, and so when you're doing something like this, I'd like you to address that fact. And how do you sort of draw that fine line between what you share and what you feel the audience can withstand?
What was shown here is probably half as bad as it actually was. These horses suffered enormously. We felt the need to tell the stories of those who could not tell the stories themselves. They have no voice. They're trusting. They're wonderful creatures. You saw Cider and Tanner. My God, they have wonderful forever homes now. But they still survived. And that story of the survival needs to be told. Because they were waiting. Cider was waiting for hope. That little 14-year-old girl worked 2 jobs to provide the medical care for that horse. And, you know, you saw him, he looks fantastic. Those are the stories we wanted to tell. So it was a fine line between horrific and hope. We want to show what can happen when no one cares. And we want to show what happens when someone does.
I think those of you that watched both of the films tonight, the Life in the Doghouse and The Limit of the Law here, Hold Your Horses, Limit of the Law, can understand exactly what the point that you're making by bringing this out and then showing that these horses actually survived. It's going to be a good message that you can send and share, and that's one of the reasons why this film was made. But Mayor, if you could just kind of close it off here and share with these people again, what can they walk away with? What can they do? What should you remember not to do? Even though it was in the film, I think that those final words would be the most important.
How about if I give you a quick background of what my professional before I retired. I have served as a humane officer for 28 years. I sit on boards in the state of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth with the Federated Humane Societies. We help design and put the anti-cruelty laws together. We also give the training to humane officers, and I had the experience and the opportunity to help develop that. So in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I am classified as an expert witness, and that's not a pat on the back, because the problem with that is when somebody goes out to do an animal investigation, if a humane officer, state police, and I had a case with the Pennsylvania State Police just 2 years ago, went out and did a horse case, I was subpoenaed by the defense attorney to come in as an expert witness to go through the testimony of how the evidence was gathered. And it was very unfortunate because the way they gathered the information all was thrown out of court for illegally gotten. So what I want you to understand, if you see animal cruelty, don't go on someone's property to get the evidence. Because what's going to happen is the defense attorney is going to come in and ask you, did you have permission to enter the property to take pictures of the private owned animals? And if you say you had that permission, that's fine. But if you went in there without their consent, that is, the fruit of the evidence is now gone. They'll get someone to come in and testify that you have the legal right to do that. If you think there's animal cruelty going on, you can take a picture from the highway, you can take a picture from a neighbor's property. Do not go on someone's private property and take pictures. Once you get that evidence, turn it over to the state police or the animal cruelty officer. I'm sorry, the humane officer. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, state dog wardens do not have the power to file animal cruelty. They can only file under the dog law. That's the only power they have in the Commonwealth.
A lot of people don't realize that.
They don't. So
does the Crawford County Humane Society have the authority?
Do we have the authority to? A humane officer can only enforce the anti-cruelty laws on animals. So in other words, if there's a dog running loose, Humane Society can't go out and pick up that animal. The Department of Agriculture has dog wardens, and that's their enforcement on rabies and things. Too many people get the two mixed up, and they think, oh, we would call the Humane Society and they go out and pick up a stray animal. That's not the case. That has to be picked up by the state dog warden. So when if you have a case of cruelty, or you think there is, the best thing that you need to do is contact a local law enforcement officer. Explain to them what you've seen, date, time, everything. All that information is very important when they get into testimony and they bring in a defense attorney to offset the cruelty charges that have been filed. We had a case with the Pennsylvania State Police filed on horse running at large here in Crawford County. Horse got hit by a car. They filed cruelty charges against the owner of the horse. The case went to the magistrate. It was thrown out of the magistrate. It was refiled by another organization. It was thrown out. The owner of the horse ended up suing the individual. And the reason for that, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a horse does not have to be confined to the property. There is no fencing or no license there.
But think about it, they're also our mode of transportation. So they have to be allowed on the roadways.
So many people feel the only confinement are for dogs, and that's under the Department of Agriculture. A lot of people don't realize that. So if you see a horse running down the road, of course you don't want to hit the horse, but we don't want that happening. But there are no leash laws for horses. People don't realize that. So I hope it was helpful. Everybody has a different, when you do the enforcement of a crimes code, when I was the officer, I had to make sure that I had the proper evidence. I prosecuted over 700 and some cases. I've only lost 2 cases my entire life with cruelty. And that's not bragging, that's just a lot of hard work. You make sure you have all your evidence. Then there's a chain of command. There's so many things that goes involved. So just contact your local law enforcement or the humane officer for that county. Hope that was helpful.
So each of us here has a responsibility. We have brought this film to you. We're sharing this with different places. This is something that happened in your own backyard. Make sure that you hear what the mayor had to say. Share that with other people. Don't let it be just this group of people that does something about this. Share it with other people. Educate them on what they should do. And let this be a bigger thing for the horses, for the dogs, and for any other animals. So Heather, since this is so close to home for you, why don't you end this session with a few more words?
One thing I'd like to say is this movie is playing again on Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Gardner Theater. We chose to play the movie as the last movie of Friday and the first movie of Sunday for a reason. It's not an easy film to watch, and maybe not appropriate for really little kids. But we're stewards of this world, and if we don't take care of it, then we've not done our job. So if you think of somebody that maybe would like to see this film, or the other film, The Life in the Doghouse, plays at 3:30 on Sunday, and it is appropriate for kids, pass it on, let them know. All we want is to get these films seen, to share the messages.
Let's all pay it forward.
And there's a really cool place to get your photo taken over there. So, selfie time.
Thank you all very much for attending tonight.
Thank you.